Pacers take game 3. Drastically different team than what we saw from them in game 2. How do they get this one done?
Haliburton set the tone early, but you got to give credit to their guys coming off the bench. What T.J. McConnell did and Ben Mathurin did was unbelievable to set the tone. The energy they brought in front of their home crowd. T.J. McConnell, 5 steals in 15 minutes of play, and then obviously the way that Mathurin was able to score the ball, that lifted that team up for sure.
All right, more reaction from Indy coming up, but let's get you to the highlight, what we saw. We take it right to the fourth quarter. You see the score there, 8 minutes to go. OKC has got a 1-point game, but Ben Mathurin came off the bench. He was coming off screens. He was coming off whatever he needed to because he was balling for the Pacers, and that allowed Haliburton and everybody else to be themselves once again. He went for 22 points and 11 assists, did Hallie, and just like that, the Pacers have the lead. They're up 5 with 4.5 to go. How about that from Obi Toppin, getting up just to get down, and the energy was completely different for this squad, JB.
No, it was the feeling of being at home, right? The role players, we always talk about how they play better at home. You could tell that they were feeding off the crowd, and it bled throughout the whole team.
Neesmith knocking down a 3. When have we seen that? Often. At the other end, Chet Holmgren tried to launch one from 3, but Miles was not letting him have it, and then he chased him all the way to the basket for another denial. What a defensive sequence by Miles Turner as the Pacers trying to secure this victory at home. They're up 6. Shea can't get that one to go. Chase down the rebound. Hallie's going the other way. Siakam's out in front around SGA. And the fans in Naptown are feeling it. Their squad trying to go up 2-1. Reggie's in the building. And Haliburton, 22 and 11. They're 20 and 1 when he goes for 20 points and at least 10 assists in the regular season and playoffs. After the game, he spoke with George Sedano.
So many different guys chipped in. This guy behind me, Ben Mathurin, was amazing off the bench tonight. He just stuck with it. Pascal was here to start the game, and we just had guys make plays after plays. Our bench was amazing. TJ, Obi. It's a big win for us.
Ben had some challenging moments the first 2 games. What was specifically different about him tonight?
Well, it's not just him. All of us are having challenges. You know, none of us have really played well. But I think he's just doing a great job keeping his head down, keep working. Man, those are big-time minutes, and we really missed him in our last playoff run. And, so it's big that he's here with us now.
Pacers now 14-0 in these playoffs when they score at least 110 points. And look, most of the conversation coming off of game 2 was about Tyrese Haliburton needing to be more aggressive. What did you see in that regard here in game 3?
I think he took it to heart, obviously. But the thing that stood out for me wasn't just him on the offensive end of the floor. He had 8 defensive rebounds. So when you have a guy like that who can defensive rebound and then push the ball, it makes your break faster. He's great at advancing the ball to his teammates when they run. So when the ball starts in his hands, I think in that second quarter in particular, they had 40 points. And it had a lot to do with pace, tempo, and his ability to attack and get his guys in the paint and then play from there.
SVP is going to join us, obviously, and take this show over in a few minutes. He's going to be from the floor in Indianapolis. Danny Green is there now, I think.
Hey, look at there he is. Hey, Danny.
There, Danny.
I'm here.
There he is. First of all, can you hear me? Because it's obviously very loud there.
It is. I can hear you. The crowd is rocking, but I can hear you.
All right. So one of the things, obviously, all season long that we were talking about with this Thunder squad is how good they are on defense. And we saw them stifling the Pacers in game 2. What did you see from that defense, and how were the Pacers able to flip the switch on that squad tonight?
I mean, they pushed the pace, no pun intended. They got some stops. They got out and running. It was a really close game. They just showed a lot more maturity to me. This came down to the last final stretch of the fourth quarter. You know, Indiana Pacers showed that maturity. They executed down the stretch. The Thunder up 5 going into the fourth. They end up losing the game by 9. So it was a 14-point swing, 14-point quarter they lost by. And that's due to execution and lack of maturity for the Thunder, really.
What about Haliburton? What did you see for him in terms of how aggressive he was and how he carried the Pacers?
You could tell he was so much more decisive in his movements and his decision-making. You know, he wasn't hesitating. He wasn't overthinking. He caught, he shot, he caught and drove. He attacked. He did all things that everybody asked and talked to him about doing and being aggressive. And that wasn't just scoring, but he had 20 points, 11 assists, 9 rebounds. He did all the things they needed him to do. And down the stretch, take care of the ball is the biggest thing. So they did a great job of that, and said getting out and running and keeping it tempo. But the game was really won with the bench. I got to give a lot of credit to T.J. McConnell, Obi Toppin, Ben Mathurin. They were huge tonight, and that's why they won the game.
49-18 is what the Pacers outscored the Thunder in terms of bench points. You mentioned Ben Mathurin. And
27.
We say this so often when it comes to the NBA especially. I don't know why it's true, but seemingly historically it is. Why do role players typically play better at home than when they're on the road?
I think it's routine. You know, you're so much more comfortable. You know, you sleep in your own bed, you got your own shoot-around time, your regular nap time, the meals are more consistent. And then it is a true fact, like, fans matter. The support of that building and the way that that crowd was lifting those guys up, it matters. And we've seen it throughout history. We've seen it throughout time with those role players. And tonight they were phenomenal. Guys came off the bench and gave them a huge lift. Without those guys, they don't get it done today.
The way that this series has gone, game one, yes, the Pacers got the win, but they did not take the lead until that very last shot. Game two was all Thunder. This one was back and forth, and yes, the Pacers pulled away at the end. What are we learning as this series progresses?
That it's going to come down to the defense, right? I think we have two high-powered offensive teams, but when you look at the teams that have been most successful in this series, it's the teams that are able to get stops. Like, you go back and watch the fourth quarter of this game and watch what Indiana's defense did to Oklahoma City's scoring threats. They sent double teams at Shea when he was in the post-up. On guys' drives, they brought extra bodies to get deflections, to get steals, and then they outworked them on the boards. And like, that's what this is going to come down to. I think we all love offense. Everybody wants to see people score, but this series is going to come down to the teams that dig in defensively, and those are the teams that have won the game.
What do you think the conversations are like right now in the Thunder locker room?
They're a confident group. I think they're going to go back and they're going to watch the film, get the emotion out of it, and then see where they can improve. And that's the fun part about the playoffs, right? It's counter, counter, counter until somebody gets the knockout. And in these first three games, we've witnessed teams go. They went counter, went two bigs in the second game, and then the Pacers came out and countered tonight, and they were able to get the win. So they're getting ready to make their adjustments.
Here's an interesting note about these two teams. Neither one of them have lost consecutive games in the playoffs during this run. The Pacers now 5-0 following a loss, and the Thunder haven't lost after loss either. So to think that they're going to turn around and lose the second game in game four, not likely.
If you're coaching either one of those teams, what's your big message?
It's just one game. You're the Pacers. You've got two more to go. And if you're, Oklahoma City, you're saying they've got to beat us two more times. And how many teams have been able to do that during the regular season in these playoffs if you're the Oklahoma City Thunder? But, again, hats off to these two coaches.
Right. And the thing about this series so far, it completely blew up the narrative. It's been way better than people thought it was going to be.
Yes.
And I'm sorry if the rest of America's not watching it. You're missing out.
Who cares if it's small market teams? They're fine.
Yes.
I wanna try to boast at what I look like. Think I'm gonna try to wear, I pull up long range. Jimmy with the heat, I'm on fire. It's NBA, I'm in the